Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we unpack complex topics to give you those essential nuggets of knowledge. Today we're taking a slightly different tack. We're diving into something that seems, well, pretty mundane on the surface. But it actually holds some surprising keys to mastering any new skill. We're talking about practical language acquisition.
Yeah, exactly. And our source material for this deep dive, it's not some dense linguistics textbook. It's actually a detailed script from an English language learning program. Really specific, designed to teach supermarket English to intermediate learners.
Supermarket English. Okay, interesting.
Right. But what's really fascinating here, I think, is we're not just looking at what English phrases they teach. We're aiming to pull out the underlying strategies, the insights embedded in teaching this real-life functional language. This program, it's not just teaching words, it's kind of revealing a masterclass in how you deconstruct these complex everyday interactions into teachable, bite-sized pieces. It's almost like a blueprint for getting the hang of any new situation.
Absolutely, a blueprint. I like that. So our mission today is really to extract those core teaching approaches, the specific language examples, and the communication nuances from this learner's guide. And the real value for you listening is in understanding how this practical, real-world communication gets broken down and taught, because that can give you some really profound insights, actually, into how you might approach learning a new skill, or navigating unfamiliar social settings, or even, mastering complex jargon in your own job.
Okay, so let's unpack this. If we're talking about the genius of this approach, why a supermarket, it seems so ordinary, yet this guide says it's the perfect place to start for language learning. What's the secret sauce there?
Well, it's pretty brilliant, actually. The genius is tapping into something universal.
Yeah.
Like grocery shopping, pretty much everyone does it. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not just relevant. It's about setting learners up for immediate high-frequency success. They get these instant, tangible wins. And that's so crucial for motivation when you're learning anything new.
Makes sense. And as the material points out, supermarkets are just filled with tons of little phrases and questions, things that might genuinely surprise someone new to the language. It's like a little microcosm of everyday interaction.
I never really thought about just how many little phrases we use without thinking. It's like this invisible layer of language. The guide mentions specific ones like paper or plastic, or do you need help out? Even just a simple, where can I find?
Exactly.
And the core goal, like it says in the guide, is to help learners shop like a pro, make them feel confident talking to staff, moving beyond just pointing and saying this, that. It's about empowering them to actually participate.
A microcosm, yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
So if we're building from the ground up in this microcosm, what's the very first building block? What's the absolute first thing this guide teaches you need to master to even, start shopping?
So the program's really strategic here. It identifies 3 core phrases, like the backbone of almost any basic store interaction. And the very first one is, where can I find?
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, it's a classic question for any store, right? It just means you want to know where something is, like where can I find the milk? Or maybe where can I find fresh bread? And the script really emphasizes that it's polite, it's efficient, it gives the learner a concrete tool right away to navigate the space. It's about minimal linguistic effort for maximum practical use.
That totally tracks. You can't buy it if you can't find it. So, okay, you found the right aisle maybe, or perhaps you don't see the item on the shelf. What's the next essential phrase?
Right. That leads directly to the second key phrase. Do you have any... This is how you politely ask if the store actually sells something or if it's in stock right now. Super useful if you don't see it right there.
Yeah, like if the shelf's empty or something.
Exactly. So you might ask, do you have any avocados?
Yes.
Or do you have any gluten-free bread? And again, the material points out how polite and adaptable this is. It's a really versatile way to check if something's available without sounding demanding.
Okay, so locate, check availability. Now the final bit. Actually choosing the item, making the purchase. How does the program teach learners to do that without just, pointing or barking orders?
That would be the third one. I'll take.
Ah, okay, I'll take.
Yeah. It basically means I want to buy this. It's what you say when you're ordering something or choosing an item. So you might say, I'll take 2 of these, pointing to something. Or maybe at the deli counter, I'll take half a pound of turkey. The guide notes it's really natural, not too stuffy or formal, and it definitely avoids the bluntness of just saying, give me bread.
Right, much nicer.
Much nicer. So these 3, where can I find? You have any? And I'll take them.
So
They're chosen very deliberately. They represent sort of the minimal viable conversational sequence to get something done in a store. It's a really efficient teaching approach.
So if I'm getting this right, the guide basically gives you this concise little language toolkit for these really common situations. But just knowing phrases in a list, that's just words. Where the real magic, I guess, happens when you see them used.
Yeah.
The guide has a sample dialogue. How does seeing these phrases in like a real back and forth help more than just memorizing them?
Oh, it's crucial. Absolutely crucial for practical application because it models how a natural interaction actually flows. The sample dialogue shows a shopper using "where can I find the pasta?" then smoothly moving to "do you have any fresh basil?" and then finally saying, "Okay, great, I'll take a bunch of that."
So you see them strung together.
Exactly. And the guide makes a point of saying the conversation should sound friendly and polite, not robotic or wooed. So it's teaching that social choreography of language, how you move from one phrase to the next while keeping things natural and respectful. It's about getting beyond just functional understanding to like actual real-world interaction.
That's really interesting because a lot of language programs might just stop at vocabulary lists, maybe some grammar. Why is focusing on this social choreography, as you put it, just as important, maybe even more important here? And how does the Fluency Builder section take that even further, pushing learners towards sounding more natural?
Well, what's fascinating here is how the program tackles politeness and naturalness head on. It shows these common transformations. And these little shifts, they make a huge difference. For instance, a very basic, maybe slightly demanding, "where is the milk?"
Yeah, a bit abrupt.
Right. It becomes the much softer, more polite, "where can I find the milk?" Similarly, a blunt "you have apples" gets transformed into the polite question, "do you have any apples?" And maybe the most obvious one, a very direct, "give me bread," becomes the much, much nicer, "I'll take a loaf of bread."
Okay, yeah, huge difference.
Huge. These aren't just about being polite, though. They teach the subtle social cues of the language. It helps bridge that gap from just being understood functionally to achieving a kind of cultural fluency. That's a critical leap.
And there's also a bonus tip in there, right? Which feels almost like basic etiquette 101 for any interaction.
Yeah. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this bonus tip really highlights a simple but universal social signal. It advises learners to always start with "excuse me" when they approach store staff.
Simple but effective.
Totally. The guide explains it's polite, it gets attention in a nice way, and it shows respect. It's such a tiny thing to add, but it immediately signals that you're trying to be respectful and engaged. Sets the right tone from the very first word.
So the guide doesn't just explain things and show examples. It moves right into an active practice section.
What's the thinking behind that? How does this help you actually, learn it properly, reinforce it?
Right. This practice exercise section isn't just filler. It's actually a really good example of effective learning science. It's all about active recall and immediate application, getting you to use the information right away.
So the guide gives these little scenarios like, "Okay, want to know where the bread is? What do you say?" And it prompts the learner to retrieve and actually say, "Where can I find the bread?" Or, "You're looking for eggs, but you don't see any. What do you ask?" leads to, "Do you have any eggs?" Or ordering cheese at the deli counter prompts, "I'll take half a pound of cheese."
So you're actively pulling the phrase out of your memory for a specific situation.
Exactly. It's not just passive memorization. It's about moving that information from your short-term recall into like long-term mastery. It's the difference between just knowing a phrase exists and actually owning it, being able to use it in the moment. And that builds crucial confidence through, repeated successful practice.
And just like that, yeah, we've kind of unpacked the core strategies inside this supermarket English guide. It really is a compelling little model for breaking down and mastering real-world communication, whether you're learning a whole new language or just trying to figure out how to operate effectively in some new environment.
That's exactly right. And as the source material really underlines, these seemingly little phrases make a big difference. They make you sound polite, friendly, clear. They really bridge that gap from just being understood to, well, truly connecting and navigating new spaces confidently.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Think about this structured approach we saw in the Supermarket English Guide. Identifying key phrases, practicing dialogues, refining for naturalness. How could you maybe apply those same principles to master complex jargon in your own job? Or even just to sort of deconstruct and understand the nuances in social situations or cultural contexts you encounter every day? It really boils down to finding those foundational pieces and building confidence through deliberate, focused practice. Maybe think about where you could start your own little deep dive into a new skill or context you want to master.